ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the Midday Market Report. Good friend and colleague, Mr. Tyler Wyatt, live today on his way to Mississippi to crack some aces. So we got about a 15-minute spot before he hits the radio in Knoxville and then heads down to Mississippi to hopefully run good, as we like to say. At about 11:25, Matt Grissom at Grissom on X talking some SEC Westgate Superbook card. First and foremost, a shout out to the proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Mr. Tyler Wyatt. What's up, T?
What's happening, JD?
Another week 12 already. My headliner today, can Ty and Bama corral the Sooners? We'll get to that, of course. Another week out with this quote-unquote so-called 12 brackets. 12 teams in the bracket format there. Top four pretty well locked and loaded on Tuesday. Initial thoughts, what your eyes saw last weekend, and now where the committee, or whatever you want to call them, are on Tuesday.
Yeah, Indiana, maybe showed a little bit of. I don't want to say that they had been invincible to date this season, but I think maybe they showed a path to causing them some troubles for some better teams. I didn't think they would struggle at all. And obviously it came down to a last possession, unreal catch, probably be a top 5 catch of the season in all of college football. But Indiana was, a bit of a surprise the way that they struggled there. We didn't learn a ton about most of the teams at the top that, Ohio State, steady as they've been pretty much all season. No real trouble at all with the, Purdue team that's just kind of going through the motions. Texas A&M maybe proved, with a statement win at Missouri. Obviously, Missouri without their starter Pribula, how much does that affect that team? But the Texas A&M offense has still proven to maybe be the real deal. Their defense has been pretty good for the last couple of years, but what they've been able to do offensively. They just keep taking steps forward. Alabama went through the motions with LSU there for a half, but I never really felt like they were in danger of losing. I know LSU had the ball there a couple of times with a chance, in the third quarter, but I just never felt like Alabama was going to lose that game. Wasn't a sexy victory, but somehow they come back and cover 20-19. Georgia out of the gate again. They've had that's been their Achilles heel, has been slow starts and then have to rally. They let Mississippi State hang around there for almost a half. I guess they scored 21 late there, and most of that 21 came late in the second quarter, but it was it started out slow and then they cruised to a 20-point win. So I think Georgia. Still doing what they need to do. Obviously, a huge game against Texas this week. Texas Tech, I think, maybe reaffirmed that they deserve and are going to be a playoff team with a statement win against a BYU team that's now found themselves in a position where they can't fool around coming down the stretch. We talked about having a log jam of teams there at 1 and 2 losses. BYU takes one on the chin there, never really competitive. Oregon at Iowa. Iowa's kind of been back as a team that just looked, their offense looked as bad as anyone in college football. They weren't really doing, much good to start the season. And now, they take a tough loss at 6-3, but they made Oregon fight for 60 minutes to get out of there. Oregon couldn't have afforded to lose a game at Iowa there. That would have put them in the two loss category. But that's a good, solid win for Oregon. Long trip, tough environment, obviously, at Iowa. It's a good, solid win. Notre Dame, I feel like we've talked ad nauseum about this team, and they're going to figure out a way to get to 10-2 and be where they were last year. Just a dominant performance in an ugly weather environment there at home against Navy. Virginia was the big surprise for me, maybe. It was a team that, out of the ACC that was looking to steal one of those bids from the power conferences. Tough loss there. Wake Forest at home especially. I could understand maybe struggling at Wake, but to lose like that and be just really lethargic offensively at home, that was a big surprise for me. And then, I think I don't feel like we're in any different spot than we were last week. I feel like there's just a whole bunch of teams. They're just kind of shuffling places, the 1 and 2 loss teams. And, I don't know, are we inching closer to a 3-win team, making a case and sneaking in as as one of those 12? I'm not sure, but, chaos as usual. The teams at the top have done what they've done all season, which is just win. And, those 8 to 20 teams, those teams that are kind of all there sandwiched together, just kind of shuffle spots week in and week out. And I guess it's going to be who's left at the top when we inch into to Thanksgiving and the end of the regular season.
Well, it's kind of funny because the preseason pre-flops, the Penn States of the world, the Clemsons of the world, they're done. But I want to bring up Texas here for an instance where they're slowly putting things together, and they have the schedule set up right in front of them. They play at Georgia this week, Tyler, and they end the regular season against A&M. If Texas cheats, and you saw where they were in the brackets this week, all of a sudden out of nowhere, and again, they're 6-point underdogs this week, and it'll be interesting to see what happens on Saturday, and of course, what the number will be against A&M. Don't forget they were favorites over Oklahoma a few weeks ago, and the market and the books are real bullish still on Texas. A, surprised at the 6, and B, Texas sheets. I mean, obviously they got to win this week. Do they got a shot between the hedges in a night game, that is, Tyler, at 7:30 on Saturday?
If Texas plays the way they did last week in a pretty, dominant 3 quarters of football against Vanderbilt, and then they allow them to score and make it close there at the end, this is a Texas team that's now won 4 straight after the Oklahoma win. The Florida loss now looks even more puzzling than it has all season. That was just a head scratcher. At the Swamp, I guess you could say Florida still had Billy Napier, didn't have the distractions of the firing. But this is, a Texas team now, looking for their 5th win. And it's a big if Arch Manning can stay off of the turf, if Texas, can get pressure at the quarterback position, doesn't matter if it's Arch or Backa, whoever, when Georgia's playing at their best, it's because that defensive front is having their way with whoever they're playing, and they get to the quarterback. If they make Arch one-dimensional, I don't think Texas has much of a chance. But this is a Georgia team offensively that has also been not super sharp to start, and it's a Texas defense that also has the ability to cause some chaos there. And what Stockton will be able to do with his feet, I think, will play a big part in how this game shakes out. I do think Georgia wins. Our number on the game was fairly in line with where the books had. I had this one 8.3. So I'm half a possession over where the market is, but not a huge discrepancy. It's a 1-possession type of game. You give Georgia the home field, and I think the numbers, a fairly good one. I don't love having a Georgia ticket based on where our price is, but I think they win the game. So, but yeah, this is a Texas team. Certainly, if they play like they did against Vanderbilt the first 3 quarters, this will be a competitive game into the 4th quarter. And if they play like they did in Lexington, where they, squeaked out an overtime victory, then they get beat by 3 scores. So somewhere in between is probably what happens. I don't think Texas, if they win this game, obviously, they're still at 2 losses. They have a game at home against Arkansas where they'll be, north of a touchdown favorite. And then I have them a 2.3 point underdog at A&M, or in the finale at home against A&M. So they are going to be dogs in 2 of the last 3. If they lose this one, how fired up can you be to play Arkansas at home before A&M? Then it just smells like this is a team that could end up, 8-4, or, I don't think they lose all 3. That would be, they're certainly a favorite to at least win one of the 3, a sizable favorite, but they could very well lose 2 of these 3, pretty easily. They could also win all 3. I feel like they're like every other team that's in that 8 to 20, kind of group. If they play really good football, they can make this really, really testy for Georgia. And obviously Georgia at 8-1 with the finale against Georgia Tech can't be, they have to be focused. I do think Georgia gets the win, though, and I think that puts Texas ultimately out of the conversation.
Well, at Odds Culture, of course, on your timeline at Tyler Wyatt Bets, you have the model, you have the circa openers, and as we always do right around this time, what's the model? What do the eyes of Tyler Wyatt see in Week 12 in the NCAAF?
Yeah, there's a ton of plays, and they'll be pinned to the Twitter profile here shortly for Saturday's games. But it starts tonight. Troy and Old Dominion. Circa opened that one 10. Our number on that game was 6.4. Friday action, Clemson and Louisville. You mentioned Clemson, one of those teams, big disappointment alongside of Penn State. Total on that one is a play for us. Circa opened 452.5. Our number was 6.57, so was happy to take 52.5 on the opener. Michigan and Northwestern. Circa opened 9. Our number on that one was 13. Cincinnati, after trying to forget the last week or so, will get to come home. It's a Cincinnati team that's I guess still technically alive, a 5-point favorite. It's 56.5 opener at Circa. Our number on that game was 10. Ball State and Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan was an opening favorite at Circa, 3-point total of 46.5. We had Ball State 3.4 and 52, so players at over and Ball State at home. Oregon State and Tulsa total, 47.5 opener by Circa. Our number on that one's 54.3. Arizona State, a 10-point opener, 15.2 in our model against the West Virginia team that's all of a sudden figured out how to play some football. It's a Marshall team at Georgia State, open a 5-point favorite. Our number was 9.5. Missouri State at home against UTEP, open 3-point favorite. Player at 3. Our number on that one was 5.8. So anything 3 or under, I think, is good there. 13-point opener, New Mexico at home against Colorado State. We have Colorado State an 8.4-point dog, so happy to take plus 13 there. I think anything over 11 is a playable number in that game. Alabama, you mentioned Oklahoma. Alabama now firmly in the playoff hunt after a puzzling opener against Florida State. 6.5-point opener at Circa. Our number on that game was 11.1. So happy to take anything under 7 in that one. Central Florida at Texas Tech. Total open 48.5. Our number on that one was 53.1. Anything under 49 playable, in my opinion. USC, a 5-point opener at home against Iowa, a team that lost a tough one at home but has played better football of late. Our number likes the Hawkeyes, even though it's a long trip. Our number on that one was 2.7. Penn State, Michigan State, Circa open 7.5. Our number on that one was 2.1. So happy to take Michigan State plus anything over 7 or over. I think good for Sparty at home there. Maryland and Illinois. Illinois opens a 14-point favorite. Our number 10.2. MTSU, Western Kentucky total 59.5 opener. Our number on that one was 50.8. Also, Western Kentucky opens a 13-point favorite there at home. Our number 17.5. Anything under 14, a playable position there for us. San Jose State, a 10-point opener at Nevada. Our number was 7 on that one, so happy to take double digits with the Wolfpack at home. South Alabama, a touchdown opener at Louisiana Monroe. Our number was 3.6, so we're back in Louisiana Monroe +7. Anything 6.5, I would skip for me, but 7, I think, or anything higher, definitely good. Memphis at East Carolina. The Pirates Open. East Carolina 1-point favorite at Circa. Our number has Memphis 6.3. So happy to take them money line there in that one. Tulane opens a 17-point favorite at home against Florida Atlantic. Our number on that one was 22.4. Tennessee, 38-point opener. We saw it go to 40.5. It's ping-ponged around. Books have had it priced all over the place. Our number likes New Mexico State and also New Mexico State team total. Tennessee, 30.1 in our model. So happy to take anything over 38, I think, is good here. Team total, I saw a couple of books had New Mexico State team total 9.5 -115 -120. 9.5, I think, is good up to 130. 10, I think, is good at 110. 10.5, probably a pass, but anything 10 or less playable on the team total there. North Carolina Wake Forest total. North Carolina team defensively has been really good. Offensively, their games have been ugly to watch. 39.5 an opener at Circa. Our number was 44.3. So happy to take a little over position there. And then Liberty, a 4-point opener, 54 total there at Florida International. Our number was 7 on the game. So happy to take Liberty at 4 or better in that one.
Tyler, as always, everyone knows to go to Tyler Wyatt Bets, of course, Odds Culture. You did say you'd have everything pinned. Any closing thoughts as we end your segment on week number 12? Blinking, we're already going to be in the final 12 before you know it.
Yeah, the Texas-Georgia game, I think, is the big one. And then, that's out of the top 25 matchups, that's the one I think that has the most ramifications, at least. Notre Dame and Pitt, I don't expect Pitt to, I think they put up a good fight for a half, but I don't think Notre Dame is in danger of losing this one. Outside of that, Oklahoma and Alabama is the only other game. Oklahoma needs to win, obviously, at 7-2. I don't think that happens, though. Texas and Georgia is going to be the game that I look at. USC, I guess, at 2 losses, still technically alive. Need to hold serve there at home in a one-possession game. But yeah, Texas, Georgia will have all my focus. I think that's the biggest one. We'll see chips and things shuffle, obviously, with an upset there. Texas would still be alive. Georgia technically would still be alive, and maybe that creates even more chaos. So maybe we should root for a Longhorn. Maybe I should root for a losing ticket in that one just for the sake of the show and for things to talk about next week.
Well, Tyler, safe travels. Best of luck, obviously, this weekend in Mississippi, and we'll catch up with you next Thursday at this time.
All right. Thanks, JD.
Thank you. Tyler Wyatt, go follow him at Tyler Wyatt Bets. Go follow him at Odds Culture. Quick commercial break. When we come back, Matt Grissom. Stay tuned. ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. All right, let's bring him in, Mr. Matt Grissom. What's up, Matty?
Good morning, Jeffrey. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Can't complain. 3-4 last weekend in the contest. That would be the one thing to complain about. Got home with Texas Tech. Your UConn Huskies once again. These guys are covering machines. And did you know that the quarterback for UConn, Joey Fagnano, has not thrown an interception all season long? 25 touchdowns, 0 picks, I believe. Heisman?
I'm telling you, I had their team total over. We talked about UConn. I knew that the place was going to be rocking. They were doing everything to sell that place out. You take a look at what Jim Mora has done with this program, resurrected it from the dead. And here I got to go limping up to Boston College to set up for Georgia Tech. This BC team won the first game of the year against Fordham, hasn't won since, and Bill O'Brien pulling his hair. I think we need to pull Jim Mora into BC here.
I wouldn't leave UConn at this point. UConn, BC, I mean, they're basically a coin flip difference, right? Or is BC football really that prominent?
No. It's an ACC setting, and they're paying Bill $5 million a year. He's got 2 years left. They will not let him go because they don't cut checks like that. Unlike the other big conferences, so they're stuck in a square peg round hole because why come to Boston College when you can just go further down south and it's a little warmer down there, Matty?
Yeah. So that's interesting, though, with Mora and Bill O'Brien. Now you see Bill Belichick doing it. Uh, in regards to the Arkansas coaching search, there are several fans who really want us to hire John Gruden. And now seeing firsthand kind of this experienced NFL head coach going back to college, what are your thoughts on that? Because a lot of people think, all right, he's not going to be able to recruit, not going to be able to relate to the players. The college game is totally different, even though I would argue the college game is now more like the NFL than not with the whole free agency thing. I mean, Jim Morris had success, kind of. Bill O'Brien, Bill Belichick, both struggling. What are your thoughts on Gruden coming back to college football?
Chucky gets stiff-armed by the NFL. He wins his lawsuit. Portnoy brings him into bar stools. He's having the time of his life. He made it clear not too long ago he wants another bite at the apple, but in the SEC. Now you see Florida open up. You got Arkansas. You're talking, what does Lane Kiffin stick and stay? LSU available. It makes a big splash. It's not going to come cheap. But in the same token, I think you're spot on. Just go back to Nick Saban. The 6 national titles, took a bite at the apple in the NFL, comes back to college. He got out because of what's going on. It's a whole different animal. Yeah. It's not going to Matt Grissom's house 4 times and meeting his family and recruiting him, knowing that, you're going to stick and stay for your 3 or 4 years because you're just going to, I didn't like the experience, I didn't play enough, or I need more money, coach. And I don't think that's in Gruden's game here, Matt. So I say no. I'd say no.
Okay. Well, there has been a lot of back and forth with fan base. There's a lot of trolling going on right now. I think every day that it gets more and more like we haven't made a decision, we're missing out on somebody else. Now, granted, James Franklin still hadn't been hired by Virginia Tech. Those rumors have been swirling for, I feel like, a month now. I still think Arkansas is in the running to get Franklin. Ryan Silverfield's another name, the Memphis head coach that's been out there. I just have no idea. These guys that are tracking planes and tweeting the eyeball emoji, it is truly eyeball emoji season right now with all of these head coaching vacancies. Nobody knows anything. I'm pretty much decided that we'll all find out here after the regular season's over.
And it wouldn't shock me, though, because you made a splash in hoops with Calipari, so it would kind of offset. Hey, we got Calipari here for hoops. We got Chucky here, John Gruden here for football. At least you'd be at the front page of both, meaning the highlight, the big name, the sizzle type coaches.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if that's what you want to do, I would rather be competitive and win football games than people talk about who our coach is. It's going to take a special person that can come in and do it, though. Arkansas not known for a recruiting hotbed of high school talent, so you're going to have to go recruit Texas, maybe East Tennessee or West Tennessee, East Texas, and just hope that you can get some talent in here and instill the winning mindset. And if it's Franklin, I think Arkansas fans will be happy with an 8, 9, 10 win season. And then they won't be. They'll want 11, 12, 13. They'll get spoiled. But, we've had a pretty damn good baseball coach for a long time that hadn't won the big one. So if they've got Dave Van Horn patience, they would have James Franklin patience as long as he's putting a competitive team out there on the field.
Well,
That's
I
my
get.
theory on it.
I think the smaller coaches, meaning the smaller leagues, the Memphis coach makes a lot of sense to me. I've heard a lot of rumblings of the James Madison coach, and look where he started. And they were talking about him on a Boston College podcast, where this guy is actually from the Boston area, and his claim to fame from Division II to a small school to another small school to look what he's done with James Madison. We've seen what Signetti did. It's almost like, yeah, I know the splash, the big name, but I think the smaller guy, Memphis, for instance, I think you start with lower expectations, but you want him and need him to build a program and build a culture, Matt.
Yeah, and see, that's where a lot of I feel like Arkansas fans have sour grapes over Chad Morris because that was supposed to be him. He took, I think, North Texas or SMU. Trying to remember now. I've tried to block out that whole timeline of my life, but this guy who developed quarterbacks and Deshaun Watson, when he was the OC or quarterbacks coach at Clemson, comes in, high powered offense, younger guy, has done it at a small school, and then you go 4-20 over 2 years in the SEC. With some of those losses being to Western Kentucky and North Texas and teams that you just shouldn't lose against, kind of like Memphis this year.
Well, let's dig into the SEC. What'd you see last week? Any shockers? Any teams kind of catch your eye?
I think LSU just kind of played along with the whole fire your coach and then get a little bump in momentum. I think they ended up falling short of covering to the Alabama line. I'm not sure what the closing line was, but this is an interesting spot for LSU now coming back off that loss. So now you've got the one weekend where you have all the troops rallied and we're going to fight for this interim head coach. Now you get Arkansas off the bye, off a heartbreaking loss against Mississippi State at home, a game that you should have won. Getting, I think, 5.5, 6 right now. I like Arkansas in this one. Outside of that, I mean, I'm looking at the college football playoff rankings, and it's basically the Big Ten, Texas A&M, and then kind of everybody else. A&M, can they afford a loss and still make it in? Probably at this point. You've still got the committee like really fighting for this whole Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. Somebody's going home, and God forbid it be Kirby Smart in Georgia, but I don't know this position that they're in for Texas. I feel like Texas is going to win this game, and they're going to be right back in the conversation. And I'm typically SEC biased, but at this point, like if I'm Miami, I'm pissed that I'm not in here. Georgia Tech kind of fell off, but can they run the table and get back in? Absolutely. You've got USC 7-2, Michigan 7-2, Louisville 7-2, Virginia 8-2. I mean, who is to say if there's some 9-3 SEC teams versus 10-2 ACC teams that some of these ACC teams don't deserve it a little bit more? I think this whole notion that there's going to be 6 or 7 SEC schools in the playoff is kind of wild. Are they better? Maybe, but I've not been very impressed this year at all with some of these SEC schools.
Well, it's so funny.
You take 9-0 Texas A&M because technically they're the best team in the SEC right now, being undefeated. You could say Alabama because their only loss was to Florida State, but again, Florida State throw out what time of the season it was. They still lost to Florida State, who lost to Stanford. So, how good is anybody in college football? I think we know Ohio State's good. They're probably one clear and away. Indiana got a little scare last weekend, which that was insane if you watch that. Gus Johnson losing his voice. And then you've got A&M, who I think is the most pretend 9-0 team in college football.
Well, every year there's one of these teams. This year it's A&M. We're just waiting for them to lose, and every week, this is the week. This is the week, and it hasn't been the week. And listen, I read the market, and when I look at the breakdown of the final 12 on Tuesday, I talked to Tyler about this, and I talked about the pre-flop in August, Matt. The Penn States, the Clemsons, the Arch Mannings in Texas. Well, Texas didn't have to go to Ohio State and play them opening week. They could have played UTEP. They could have played whatever. So here's my point. I think you're spot on here with this Texas team. They win this week in Georgia. They come back home. They beat Arkansas, and here they are against A&M. You're waiting for them to lose. I think the team coming down the backstretch like Thunder Gulch right now is Texas.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. Either Texas or Oklahoma. I think we're going to see a lot out of this Oklahoma-Alabama game. It's going to be another one kind of like the Oklahoma-Tennessee game. Yeah, your offense has looked really good. Joey Aguilar was looking really good, and then he faced a defense that was good. And can Ty Simpson do the same sort of thing that he's been doing week in and week out against this Oklahoma defense? I don't know. But I think Oklahoma and Texas are two teams right now that they have just as good of a shot to make the college football playoff as A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, any of them.
It's going to be interesting for sure. Big slate as always. Some headliners. You talked about Oklahoma, Alabama, of course, Texas, Georgia. There's some mini games in between. Let's transition over to your Westgate Supercard. For me this week, it was a new third. We're in the NFL card. And the hardest part for us is to pick five. We go through the whole board. We were 6-1 on the desk, and somehow miraculously, when we put the card in, we end up 1-4. And it's just amazing the mindset and the reading the numbers, the flip flop, and the devil and the angel, good cop, bad cop. It's a mind bleep. You know what it is. But what do your eyes see this week?
There are a couple of those weird SEC. We're going to play weak opponent games. New Mexico State and Tennessee. That's where I'm going to start because I caught the tail end of Ryan or that may not be his name. My mind just went blank. I was thinking Ryan Hyatt because Texas Tech guy. Going back to this of the college football playoff and everything, I think Texas Tech may be the best team out of the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 that can contend with. If you watch Texas Tech against BYU, they control the line of scrimmage. Their defensive line is outstanding. They were opening up holes for Dickey, the quarterback, Baron Morton, now that he looks healthy. Texas Tech has a very good defense. Their offense is prolific. I think what Joey McGuire, I think is his name, has done at Texas Tech, they're just as live as anybody else at this point. But going back, sorry, I got off on that tangent. I need to text Ryan Hyatt and see what his thoughts are. New Mexico State, kind of been one of those darlings that I've been making money off of during the midweeks. They go to Tennessee, and Tyler had, I think he said he liked the over on New Mexico State's team total. We only make this Tennessee minus 31. I'm looking at a line on this contest card, New Mexico State plus 39. And they screw around and score 2 touchdowns and hang within this number of basically 40, I think they can. So that was my first pick on the board for the Aggies of New Mexico State plus 39. And then I'm really tempted to go back to your Yukon Huskies 6.5. I wanted to talk to you about it. 6.5 over Air Force. You are playing a military team. These are also weird spots. So what are your thoughts as a Husky?
I'm telling you, there was a great early this year. Just bet the team total over against Air Force. It has now come to a screeching halt. I will tell you this: it is a perfect flat spot for the Huskies. They were so jacked up for Duke. The place was rocking. It's going to be hard to duplicate that, number one. Number two, an academy that's going to try to play keep away. And here's the number three telltale sign for me, Matt. The line's 6.5. It's not 7.5. It's not 8. They're almost begging you to take UConn this week.
Yeah. Yeah, they're flirting with it too. They gave us 7 in the contest. I'm
It's an
looking
Air
at my
Force
book.
number.
It's 6.5. 7 in the contest is that's tough.
Tough spot for them to
Anyways,
bounce back.
going back to the Big 12, I can't make myself take Texas Tech as much as I believe in them this week. I think that there's too many points that they're laying against Central Florida with 24. The model really likes the Knights for some reason, even though they've given out, I think, 3 straight losers ATS on them. But one team I'm looking at is Utah, and they travel to Baylor. Baylor has virtually no defense. They're 70th in the country. They're 78th in the country in rush defense. Taking on a Utah team who is 3rd in offensive efficiency through the on the ground and 38th through the air. Utah is going to be able to put up points. It may not be the same type of whatever it was, 43-0 at halftime like they did against Colorado, but I think Utah. Kyle Whittingham always has a powerful team, and we're getting 8 in this contest. I'm going to lay the 8 with Utah. We make this at least a 10-point spread with the Utes. So there's going to be – I'm going through this in live time, by the way. The site was down. I couldn't download the card. So I'm sitting here going through line by line and seeing which games I like. And then another one I wanted to pick your brain on is Penn State, Michigan State. Penn State, they almost do it last week. Are they believing? Is this 7.5? Are we now in favor of, is Penn State back to playing good? Or is Michigan State a little undervalued getting 7 in the hook here?
Again, Penn State threw it all on the line. As you said, top 5 catch of the year. The toe tap, getting pushed out of bounds. And somehow his right foot's going out of bounds. He toe taps with the left. Gus Johnson still looking for his voice. An amazing spot. And now they got to travel to Michigan State. I think it's a flat spot. Yes, they are playing a lot better. The Penn State team that we kind of sort of thought. But I'd lean dogs here. Again, a potential flat spot for the Nittany Lions here.
Yeah, I think I like getting 7 in the hook with Michigan State. They can be just salty enough with Aiden Childs to keep that one close. Michigan State's not a great team by any means, but their offense is decent enough. And then another one I'm still waiting to find out, Missouri and Mississippi State. I don't know if Tyler said anything about the quarterback for Missouri with Prbula, if he is still out. Mississippi State, they just fell flat last week, getting absolutely blown out by Georgia. Maybe the covering dream is dead now. They won against Arkansas, and now it's like, all right, now we can't play anybody. But Missouri should roll this game if Prbula is healthy. If he's not, I don't know how good that backup quarterback did last week. But I don't know. These are 2 teams that I don't really trust. And is Eli Drinkwitz now going to Penn State? You've got rumors swirling everywhere, I feel like, across the country. Coaches leaving. We saw Ryan Silverfield's name get mentioned for the Arkansas job. What does Memphis do? They go out and lay an egg. Is it coincidence? Maybe. I I don't know what's going on with that. Wake Forest, another team I've really liked. Robbie Ashford's looked good. Now they're running like a 2-quarterback system. They're only laying 6 against North Carolina. Has North Carolina given up on the year? Wake Forest at home. That one's probably going to make the card. Texas A&M 19.5 against South Carolina. Do I want to trust South Carolina? Absolutely not. But I don't trust A&M either. So trying to stick to the SEC there. I've already told you I'm taking Arkansas. We only get them 5.5 in the contest. LSU, just absolutely beautiful. LSU probably starting the backup quarterback as well. Still maybe playing the two quarterback system. An interesting one to me, USC and Iowa. We just saw Iowa play Oregon really close in a nasty game. Now they fly out to Southern California, and the weather ain't going to be Iowa weather. Only laying 6.5 on most books, 7 in the contest, of course. I don't care. Still give me USC. I think USC's offense is ahead of schedule from Oregon. Not going to say better, but they're playing better. I just don't think Iowa can replicate it 2 weekends in a row. You got the perfect opportunity last week, and I took the bait. I tried to bet Oregon, and I knew the line was fishy. Sean texted me and said, I've never given out a 5-star play. This week it's Oregon. And I thought, that line is so bad. If both of us love Oregon in that spot, and I don't know if you caught Kirk Herbstreit on the game day before the game. He said, this game is going to be 15-16, and Iowa's going to go down the field and kick a game-winning field goal. And he goes, yeah, that'll be the score because it's Iowa. And what was the score? It had 15 in it, I believe.
No. He had 16-15, and it was Oregon that came down to kick the field goal.
Yeah, and he was real close to predicting that perfectly of what was going to happen. And then once I heard that and you saw the game, how it was playing out, it was evident that Oregon was never gonna cover in that game. Sorry, my dog started going nuts. But yeah, I'm gonna lay it with USC here. I don't think Iowa can replicate that type of performance again. I think USC is going to be able to move the ball. And I'm on New Mexico State over Tennessee. Alabama, Oklahoma. This is another one where I'm taking the dog. I trust Oklahoma's defense more than Alabama at this juncture of the season. You know, I think Tim Murray said last week on his podcast for VSiN, the college football betting podcast, the ACC is an unserious league. Every time that one of them start to prosper, they just fall on their face. And I think the SEC has the potential here to kind of do that. I think you may see Georgia fall on their face against Texas, and I think you may see Alabama fall on their face against Oklahoma. So I'll probably be betting on both of those two to happen.
We haven't had that train wreck, and we used to every year have that 1 week where we had the train wreck. Ohio State, Indiana have set themselves clearly apart, and now you're looking for an A&M team. They're big favorites. They'll find a way to win. But then you get the Alabamas of the world, the Georgias of the world, and what better way than this weekend if Oklahoma goes into Alabama and wins, if Texas goes into Georgia and wins, and a real big shakeup here, because we've had little talks, whispers, that there could be a 9-3 SEC team fighting to get in versus a 10-2 ACC team, and this is the weekend to start that talk.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's these college football playoff rankings have been nothing really but talking points. I don't think any of them has any finality to it. There's still they're still wide open outside of Ohio State, who I think could lose 2 and still make it. Everybody else, it's all up in the air still.
Well, as always, Matt, everyone knows where to follow you on X at Grissom on X, of course, at the NCAA Insiders. But as we always wrap up the segment, tell them where they can find all your work, sir.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter. Go to mattgrissom.com. You can check out my power ratings and all of the weekly sims and insiders expected ratings. Those will help you handicap, all pulled from collegefootballdata.com. And yeah, just check out Nick tomorrow when he comes on the show.
Before I let you go, how's your Arkansas hoop team looking?
Tough loss by 3 to Michigan State on the road. Guys learned a lot. It's going to be a long season, but thankfully we're very young still. Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas are both great players, but they're very young. I think Malik shot about 5 or 6 air balls. A lot of frustrations out of Trevin Brazil, who hit a guy in the face with a towel as he was walking out. He didn't get suspended, but he did not play against UCA for soreness, I think is what they called it. But yeah, I don't think Calipari's going to play that. I get it. It was an emotional spot. You lost, but you're also a senior who's been in college for like 8 years. So let's rein it in a little bit, control your emotions. But we play every team that was in the Elite Eight last year. So we're going to have multiple opportunities to be able to win some games, lose some games, learn from them, and hopefully be able to compete in the SEC this year.
Well, we can't wait. We'll grab, as you said, tomorrow, 11 a.m., Nick Hathcote back to talk some NCAA football. We'll get his temperature report on his Notre Dame Fighting Irish as we get another week closer to college baseball. So please go follow Matt at Grissom on X at NCAA Insiders, and make sure you follow back with us at 11 a.m. tomorrow with Nick Hathcote as well. 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Ron Marmolewski at Ron A Sports comes on his weekly spot to talk NCAA and, of course, NFL. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at Easy Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Matt Grissom at Grissom on X at NCAA Insiders. Wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy yourselves and set the calendar. We'll see you at 4:30 Eastern. Stay tuned.